I thought San Miguel really played good defense tonight. Uh, they were very solid defensively. And we caught Jumar on a really good night where he was pretty dominating. And we really didn't match up well with him tonight physically. Um, but I thought they played really, really well. I give credit where credit's due.
Coach, a disappointing ending, but what do you think this means for for the future, especially moving forward to the next conference?
Well, the disappointment is we lost. So that's another conference that's gone by where we didn't win. But at the same time, I'm also a realist. I listen to you guys. I read what you write, and I think at the beginning of this conference, if you had said Meralco would be in this situation, none of you would have said that probably. So, in a lot of ways, we're moving forward. We're getting better. We're certainly competitive, that's for sure. We can beat any team on any given night. We do have problems with the really big, strong teams over a 7-game series. The shorter series actually favor us because we can knock guys off and say best of 3 and things like that, even best of 5. But as the series gets longer, we don't seem to have the depth of some of the favorite teams like San Miguel. So I'll be quite honest with you, I'm very proud of my players, what they accomplished this conference. And we just have to move on to the next conference and hope that Johnny O'Brien will be able to fill in some of our weaknesses going into the next conference.
Coach Chris Newsom talked about Meralco needing to catch some breaks, that he felt it was coming, that you're going to catch those breaks that you need. Specifically, what do you think the team needs to do, to just hasten that process?
Well, number one, just the fact that we're always there means that we're giving ourselves a chance to possibly come out on top in one of these series. But it's pretty obvious to me that our biggest weakness is we don't always match up with the top teams, particularly in the middle, particularly in the paint. Since we recruited Raymond Amazan, we've been winning games. So it shows how if you can get a good big man, you can improve your team a great deal. And Raymond has done that for us. But Raymond weighs about 205 pounds, and he's going up against a guy who weighs about 255, 260, and who's the best player in the league. So you can see how sometimes height and weight can make a difference in the game, particularly when that person is very, very skilled like Jumar. So we have to bring in imports that will fill that position for us. That's how we've been able to do well in the imported conferences in the past. Hopefully we've done it again this time around with our import coming in. But that's our inherited weakness, I guess you can say. The fact that when we go up against the top teams, we don't always match up very well in the middle. And like I said, Raymond has turned our team and our program around, to be quite honest with you. But at the same time, we still probably need a little bit more size as far as the center position is concerned.
Coach, what was your team's biggest takeaway this conference? Biggest takeaway?
Well, I mentioned it earlier, but that we can compete with anybody. I always, like I said, I always listen to you guys. I mean, I read what you write, and I always take note of where teams are ranked at the beginning of the conference, particularly the All-Filipino conference, because there's no imports. So basically, it's kind of raw as far as the rankings are concerned, because it's really the team, the All-Filipino team. And when we normally come out somewhere around 5, 6, most of the time, we're certainly not in the top 4, that's for sure. That's normally reserved for Magnolia, Talking Tech, San Miguel, and Ginebra. So when we can break that top 4, then we know we're improving and we're getting better every conference. That's really the key for me, to try to get into that Final 4, to give yourself a chance to make it to the championship and hopefully win the championship. But if you can't get into the Final Four, then there's no way you're going to accomplish that. But making it into the Final Four is very difficult because you're talking about taking one of those 4 teams out. And we know those 4 teams are probably the most talented teams we have in the league. Even I can see that. I mean, I can recognize that as an opposing coach, that they have the bigs, they have the wingmen, they're pretty much complete, those 4 teams, as far as their talent is concerned. So, and an example would be Ginebra. They have Stan Hardy there and Joppet. I mean, I don't have Stan Hardy there and Joppet standing next to each other on one front line. So, and even today, you look at Mo, Tatua, and Jumar standing next to each other. Even the Talking Text team is not quite as big, but you're looking at Aram and Rosario, both national team players. So you just have to keep, it's hard to get those type of players into your team. I mean, it's very difficult to do, particularly if you're doing well in the season and your draft status becomes much lower. You have to get really lucky to get a big at that 8th or 9th or 10th spot in the draft. So we'll just keep trying to improve. I told you guys this at the beginning of the conference or at the end of the last conference when we lost to Ginebra, that the All-Filipino would be a challenge for us because, like I said, I don't think you guys consider us one of the top 4 teams, but we normally do well when the imports come in. So if we can be strong enough to compete in the All-Filipino and then we can get a good import, that could make the difference, get us over the hump.
Coach,
That was a long answer.
Speaking of import, O'Brien was there earlier.
He just arrived this morning.
Okay. And watched
Yeah.
the game.
Yeah, I just met him today. Yes.
So what's your initial impression of him?
I haven't seen him play or practice, but I've seen him on video, and I think he played in the league for about 5 or 6 years, the NBA. What we normally try to do, Paulo and I, the manager, is we get somebody who's solid, because it's hard to hit a home run and get a superstar from the NBA that's going to come to the Philippines. That doesn't always happen every day. So we just want to get a solid player, somebody who we know is good, offensively, defensively, who can rebound the basketball. And in our case, we don't want a wingman. We want a guy who can also play in the paint, because that's really our weakness. So I think we hit a home run with this guy. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait for the games to start. But I think we got a good one, definitely.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.